Now back to Charlotte and the apparent random stabbing on a light rail train that killed a 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee.
Surveillance video right there showing the woman boarding the train. This happened back on August 22nd. Minutes later, as she is sitting in her seat, the man stabs her in the neck from behind. DeCarlos Brown Jr. was arrested a short time after the attack, charged now with murder. He does have a history of multiple arrests going back 10 years, as well as a history of mental illness. There he is in the red hooded sweatshirt.
The woman killed, Irina Zarutska, escaped Kyiv in 2022 during the war and settled in Charlotte, working at a local pizzeria and studying English. Friends say she dreamed of pursuing a career as a veterinary assistant.
City officials we know and investigators are facing some criticism on this Monday morning for not releasing that surveillance video until 2 weeks after the actual attack. They said that was to avoid compromising the investigation and also to protect her family from seeing the brutal nature of that attack. So with more on the community reaction and the outrage right now, we're joined by Pastor Shannon Williams from Finish Line Christian Center in Mount Holly, North Carolina. Pastor, thanks so much for being here this morning on Connecting America. We appreciate it. As a community leader there in Charlotte, what's been the reaction that you've seen to this tragedy?
Well, we've seen a lot of reactions, mixed, good. People are saying, about the news and maybe the coverage that's happening now. But there's a lot of people that are scared. This is an egregious attack for no reason at all. And it's time that we really face the fact that we have a crime problem in America, and city officials are under scrutiny because they feel like that they have not done enough in that 2-week time period that you mentioned. It happened on August the 22nd, and it's just now, people are just now talking about what happened. And it's caused an outrage here locally because they feel like there was some deception or, that they weren't upfront enough in the beginning.
So let's talk about that, Pastor, because I'm interested. Are you somebody who shares the belief that the video, which is very graphic and violent, should have been released? And if so, why? What purpose would that have served for the public?
Well, there's mixed reactions. Personally, I believe information is a good thing. People live in Charlotte. They use this light rail every day, and they need to know what is happening around them to make good choices. And personally, I think it should have been released. I think people need to be aware of what's happening. And we see that there was this gap, and we understand now that it was very brutal and vicious. And would you want to know that? Would I want to know that before I entered onto the light rail?
Well, I mean, are you just so I understand, Pastor?
Yes.
Are you saying that the local media didn't cover this? There's a difference, I think, between showing a very graphic video and just getting the information. Are you saying that the local media didn't cover that there was a murder on the light rail?
Well, when you have the mayor of Charlotte, North Carolina, telling people and pleading with them to stop talking about the man who attacked the woman and the attack itself, I think that exposes that there's something going on underlying, that they don't want this to bring bad negative light to the light rail. There's been, they were over budget with this light rail before it was ever finished. And they just announced locally that they plan on extending this light rail. It plans on going, they got plans to go to Gaston County, which is right beside Mecklenburg County. And what we see is that I believe that they're just trying to not have a negative light about the light rail period. But take all that aside, I believe information is good so people can make an educated choice.
Do you think people need to see the full shock and horror of that incident to help people make the right choices, to try to keep public transportation safe, or is it just too much?
Well, my attitude changed dramatically after I saw the first few seconds of the footage. I have not seen since the moment that it's frozen. They freeze it right as the man, Mr. Brown, steps up to do that, and it's frozen at that point. But let me tell you, it really changed my perspective on it. When you think about something, your mind can go in a lot of different ways, but when you watch it on video, it makes it very clear that this was unprovoked. There was no words exchanged between them, and this is a senseless attack that should have never happened. Arrested 14 times prior. He's got a history, And the mayor of Charlotte said, we can't arrest our way out of a mental health problem. That just means that I believe that there's another solution out there other than just arresting people. We need to actually get people the help that they need.
I understand that they've just now hired a chief safety officer for the transit system. Is that long overdue, do you think?
Absolutely. You know, Charlotte has been a very safe town for years and years. The area has, but we see the increase over time, just like you see in cities all over America. We see an increase in crime. And I think we need to be proactive instead of reactive when it comes to that.
Yeah,
Pastor
actually,
Shannon?
crime. I mean, in Charlotte, crime is down, as you know, this year. So violent crime is down something like 25%. So this aside, I mean, this is extremely violent, but generally, Charlotte seems to be getting safer. But those are the stats that were released by the police a month or two ago. Pastor, thank you very much. We really appreciate getting your opinion from on the ground there in Charlotte.
Yeah, we wrestle with this in the news media, as you know, Allison, all the time. How much to show, and the fact that the video is frozen. That's a fairly standard decision that we make to spare, the public and especially the family having to relive what happened to their loved one in such graphic detail.
Yeah. I take the pastor's point that there's something so shocking about seeing that freeze frame where the murder is about to happen. And that is really obviously attention getting. And yes, of course, the public should know that there was a crime of this magnitude on the light rail. That this might be the answer. I mean, it's so, again, arresting, this freeze frame that I personally don't need to see the whole video to get the point.
And there's a fine line between informing the public and being exploitative.